Welcome to the John 3:16 Stories of Hope podcast, where we talk to people who have overcome addiction and alcoholism at John 3:16 Ministries. I'm your host, Lisa Fisher. Now let's hear another inspiring story from a resident or graduate of John 3:16 Ministries. Okay, this is going to be a really cute interview because from what I'm understanding, that a Cupid's bow is set right on you. Our guest is a target, and then the next person. So we interview two people. I'll pull the curtain back. We interview about two people at a time when we do these podcast recordings. And so for now, we've got the Mister, and the next interview will be the Miss. Not
Yes,
saying
ma'am.
she's the Missus yet, but I got that intel from the team. But tell me your name, sir.
My name is Scott Stell,
Spell your last name for me.
Stell,
Okay. Where are you from, Scottsdale?
Hamburg, Arkansas.
Dude, I'm from Dermott.
I heard.
Top that.
Yeah.
For
No,
anyone
no.
listening, these are towns in South Arkansas. I'm Chico County, Ashley County,
Yes, ma'am.
Hamburg. Well, that's where, we'll talk about another time where you had to go buy beer in Hamburg. Okay, but let's talk about, it's probably buying all that beer that got you to John 3:16 Ministry. So kind of tell me your story. I don't know anything about it.
All right. I'm 44 years old. I've been at the ministry for about going on 3 years.
Wow.
So I've been here for a little while. You know, I grew up pretty normal. Like I had a pretty good childhood growing up. My parents raised me well. I knew right from wrong, but I just never wanted to listen or take anybody's advice that tried to give me any help, and I was well liked. Played sports in high school, had good grades. And then I went to college at UAM in Monticello. And that's where I kind of figured out that I was a little bit different than everybody else. When the party was over and everybody else was going home or going to school or going to work, I never wanted to see it end, and that was the beginning of a long road of drug abuse and bad decisions and trouble, a lot of trouble. So that's the beginning of it, and it got bad. It got really bad there for a while, but it has to get really bad before you decide to come somewhere like John 3:16. This was not my first option, not what not what I had in mind for my life. I had a lot of opportunities, a lot of things in front of me that I could have done, and I wasted most of them. Yeah. And I just kind of settled on the fact that that's the way I was going to be. Yeah, I'd kind of given up on the fact that there was any hope or anything left for me to do. And that was pretty much my rock bottom. I don't know how detailed you want me to get into it,
We'll get into that. We serve a God of second chances.
Yes, ma'am.
And was this a second chance for you, or a third, or a fourth, or a fifth?
I've had many chances. God's grace has been abundant in my life because I was an opiate and methamphetamine addict, and in the last, I would say 4 years since fentanyl came around, I've overdosed a lot, several times. I've been airlifted from Eudora to Little Rock, several, a lot of close calls. And so I know that I've had plenty of chances.
Scott, who cared enough, though, to tell you that the trajectory you were on was death and separation from God, and that Jesus loves you and he was going to give you a chance at John 3:16 Ministries? Who loved you enough to tell you that?
Believe it or not, it was a guy that I'd never even met face to face. Somebody that you probably know, a guy named David Bennett from Lake Village.
Yeah.
He had
Wow.
he had just graduated from the ministry, and it just so happened that we got some friends in common. Like I was working for a guy that he's friends with that was actually my safety coordinator, and I was in terrible shape, and he told David about me, and he started calling me, and I was like, I don't know David Bennett. I've heard his name before, but I've never met him face to face. So he starts leaving me messages on my phone about a place that I can come that I could get some help, and he
So
understood.
everybody knew that you were an addict.
Absolutely, yeah.
Did you know you were an addict?
Oh yeah, oh
Okay.
yeah.
But you just thought, I'm just going to live like this.
I was too prideful. I always thought I could fix it on my own. I'll do better tomorrow. I'll get this figured out eventually. But yeah, I knew I was an addict for a long time. I was never in denial about that.
Okay.
I was always well aware of my addiction.
So David's pursuing you. Are you like, dude, you're on my nerves?
You
Or
have
were you
no
kind of
idea.
like, Tell me more.
No, you have no idea. I can avoid David on my own. I could screen his calls, I could erase the text, but he goes even further and he gets my parents' number.
Is
And then he
that
starts
right?
yeah, then he starts calling them. So now I'm like, man, this guy's interfering with my life. He's really, really interfering with my life is the way I felt. But he was persistent, man. He was really, really persistent about it. And then eventually I wore, I gave in. He probably did that for 3 or 4 months before I finally because now he's talking to the guy at work, so I'm hearing it there. I'm hearing it at home from my family, and now I've got these random texts and phone calls coming in. So yeah, he was relentless.
It makes me cry to think that God would use him. I mean,
Yeah,
it's very humbling that God uses any of us as
yes,
sinners,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
but that he chose you and he was a salesman
Mhm.
and he wanted to close the sale.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
So what made you finally say, "All right, man, I'll try it"?
There was a lot of different things that were weighing on me. For one, I'd had several close calls. And
Did that scare you? Does that scare an addict?
At the time, it really didn't. And that's probably the scariest thing about it was that the fact that I never really feared death.
Mm,
I knew that the things that I was doing, I knew where they led. I've never
mhm,
been naive about things like that.
mhm.
I'd almost settled the fact that I wouldn't live a long life.
Wow.
I'd almost made that okay. That a guy told me a long time ago when I was first introduced to some of this stuff. He said, "You'll never meet an old junkie," and
Wow.
I kind of had I
Mm.
kind of understood that and knew that to be true. And so it was that and you know, I could see prison around the corner because
You never served time?
I was on probation. See, my mom, bless her heart, she's a circuit clerk in Hamburg.
Is that right?
Yeah, so I got a couple of get out of jail free cards
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of her, and then it was to the
Wow.
point where I couldn't get her to help me anymore, and I was on probation, and I just knew what was coming. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, and then this is crazy, to say, but I was hanging out at a place where everybody's getting high and they don't want me around. Because of the things that I was doing and the things that were going on, my best friend told me, he said, "Man, if you're gonna kill yourself, do it at your own house." You know what I mean? I don't want you to do it over here. So that was really the turning point. It's funny, all those other things happened, but that's what really hurt me. That's what really got to me and made
If
me
finally something broke
yeah,
through.
that's what it was, and I was like, "Man, if I'm not welcome here, where am I welcome at? If I can't even go to a place where everybody's doing drugs and getting high and I'm being pushed out of that, it's like, at what point is it too much?" And
Well, it was.
it
It it
was.
it got to the point. So what was it? Was it that statement?
That was really it.
Wow.
I wasn't welcome at the place where I was getting to hang out and do things I wanted, and
And this
then
is in Hamburg. This is all going on in Hamburg.
yeah, in Hamburg. I mean, part of the story is like I hadn't been back in Hamburg for a long time. After I got done with college, I started working on the pipeline on the road, and I was gone for like 15 years. So when I came back with
And were
this.
you using those
Oh
full
yeah,
entire
yeah,
15 years?
yeah, yeah. It seemed like part of the industry.
Mhm.
That's what
Yeah.
everybody was doing,
Mhm.
and it was a different town every 6 months, a different state, a lot of
And
money,
what line of work is that?
natural gas
Yeah,
pipeline.
yeah, sure, sure, sure.
Yeah,
Now, what was your major though? Did you get a degree with all that
no,
partying?
mm-mm.
Okay.
I I would I would get close and then I would change it so I didn't have to graduate. I love
Well,
school.
you wanted to stay there because it
I
was
loved it. I thought
party
that was
time, playtime?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
what was the
yeah,
appeal?
yeah, that was it. It was fun. And
Yeah, it is fun. Yeah,
it was, and then I ran out of money and I couldn't get any more money to go to school. And
yeah,
it was like,
yeah.
man, what am I gonna do now? So I had this offer to go on the road to make this money that I
A
thought,
lot of money.
yeah, and I thought that'll fix it. That'll be the answer. Like, I don't need to graduate college. I've got this opportunity. And it was just one bad decision after another.
Did you blow through that money pretty quickly, I would assume?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very good assumption. Like,
Mm.
I can remember working 6 months and making almost $100,000 and having to borrow money to get home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Drugs?
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
expensive,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and you need more.
Yeah, and I'm generous, you know what I mean? Like, I always like social stuff. If I got it, you got it. I want y'all to hang
Well,
out with
that's why
me, you
that party
know?
house meant so much to you, and
Yeah,
that's why that
absolutely.
was a very hurtful statement, that the place that you felt that was fun and
Mhm.
safe and there were people there, you're an extrovert, obviously, you love people,
Yeah.
and they were cutting you off.
Yep.
You were in too bad a shape for them, and they were in
Yep.
bad shape.
Yep. Yep. That's right.
So then David's blowing up your phone, calling your mom, calling your dad, brother, sister,
Mhm.
whoever, and then, I mean, your drug use was about the same, right?
Yeah.
Then then you knew you had to give up something you loved more than life itself, and that was
Yeah.
drugs,
Yeah.
and you did
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
And you knew Jesus was involved in this, right? Because
Yeah.
they don't hide it, that it's John 3:16, the cure, and you were willing at that point to hear what Jesus had for you?
Yeah. It's funny, like, as a kid, I mean, I was raised in church. I was there every Sunday. I knew about Jesus, but I was not a faithful follower.
Well,
I
you're
knew about him.
a believer,
I
but not a
believed in him.
follower. But
No, not at all.
Satan believes in him.
That's right.
The
You
demons
know?
believe in the
Yeah,
shudder.
that's right. And so I believed in him, but I don't know, I wasn't obedient to anything that I'd learned as a kid. I knew stories. I was involved in church, Sunday school, Bible school, things like that, but I hadn't been in 20 years. Ever since I was old enough to decide if I wanted to go or not, I
You
hadn't
weren't
been.
going, and you
Mm-mm.
were gonna make that public to
Mhm.
everybody. "I'm not going, and I don't believe
Mhm.
it."
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a very humbling step, Scott, for you to admit, "I need help." So, the men I've talked to, and I've only talked to one other talked to one female, most of them were coming in when Sundays were the only day of admission, but then Brian said we kinda opened it up because Sunday may be too late.
Yeah.
What day of the week did you come in on a Sunday like
Yeah,
that?
I came in on a Sunday.
And that's during worship. You come to the worship service and and now I'm not sure about this. Can you come by yourself or does someone have to
No.
sponsor you and drop you
No,
off?
you gotta have a sign-in person.
That's what I thought. And
Yeah.
so who was yours?
My mom and dad brought me up here
Okay, that's a 3, 4 hour, that's a 4 hour trip
for 4 hours, yeah.
from Hamburg. Okay. I bet that ride up there to Charlotte, Arkansas was not like you were going to the beach. I
No,
bet
no. It
there
was,
no one said anything.
no, it was very awkward.
Yeah.
But my relationship with my parents had gotten so awkward anyway because they were aware of what was going on, and they were I just man, I you get so tired of just feeling like you're always
I'm sure.
disappointed.
So sorry to hear that. You never thought of it that way yourself, but they were really sick of you. Because
Absolutely,
when it's
like,
a
they were
family
fed up.
member, you get really mad.
Yeah.
And
And
you were in your 40s, so they were saying, "All
yeah.
right," they were saying this is your last chance.
Yeah, they told me this they were like, "This is it, like, if you do whatever you have to do to get in because you're not coming back with us."
We're
You
changing
know,
the
like,
locks, right?
"Yeah,
We're
you're
gonna
not
do whatever.
coming I don't know what you gotta do, but you're not coming home
Now,
with
were you
us."
mad at them for saying that, or did you have some respect?
Mm-mm. No, respected it because I knew how far I'd gone and pushed everything. No,
Mm.
I knew that, that it was time for that.
Now, had you lost a wife or kids or a family or anything like so many people have those stories?
Not recent. Like, I was married right the end of my college career, but it never worked. It was a couple of years, and, like,
Okay.
we've been split up for a long time,
Okay.
so it wasn't, like
So
that
then
was a
your mom and dad then were the people that you had to kinda appeal to
yeah,
and
yeah.
show some obligation to, like,
Mhm,
"Okay,
mhm.
I'm gonna do it." Accountability, I guess, were parents. So you drive up here to Charlotte, Arkansas. I mean, Hamburg is almost Louisiana, and
Yeah, it's
Charlotte's almost Missouri.
right.
So I'm
That's right.
telling people that are listening, it's a
Yeah,
long way.
the length of the state. Yeah, that's right. From when yeah.
It's an awkward ride. You get there. What's the first thing that happens? I was there on a Sunday once and I saw some men in the worship service with their families. Is that the first you come in and you worship and then you meet the staff? Is that how that's done?
Yeah, they'll after service is over, the guys that are trying to get in stay inside the auditorium, and then we do like they call it an interview process, you know?
Okay.
And that's what it is, like, they wanna know where you're at and how broken you are and the things that have affected your family. It was like, most people a lot of people have trouble getting in, but it was kinda I didn't really have any problems because they told me to be honest, and I've always been good at that, you know, like, I've
Good.
always been able to tell the truth, and it was a little embarrassing having to tell the truth with my parents sitting beside
Oh,
me.
so your parents are in
Oh,
that.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
They're there,
man.
yeah, because they wanna know not only how it's affected me, but how it's affected them. You know, they want their opinion too.
So, are your mom and dad is your mom crying and your dad's
Oh, yeah.
angry at that point?
Yeah, my mom's definitely crying, and my dad, he doesn't show a lot of emotion, but you could tell it was,
It was killing him.
yeah.
Were you recreationally using at that point? Did you have to dry out in any way?
No, I got high before we left that morning because I didn't wanna leave, it sounds so silly, but I didn't wanna waste anything, like, I wanted to make sure I was out when I left, you
Well,
know?
it's women or men and women that are on the diet. I'm going to eat the last sleeve of Oreos because they're
Yeah,
here, and then
yeah,
I'm starting the diet. I mean, it's the
yeah,
same mentality,
yeah,
and food is just as much addictive as drugs. So I hear that story from a lot of people. So you think I'm going to get high one more time?
yep. That's hoorah kind of a deal.
Were you high in that interview?
Yeah, but I was always high, you know?
Right,
It
right.
was normal to me, I was
Yeah.
always high.
So did
So
you have to then detox at all from all that?
yeah, of course, like, but see, being a habitual opiate addict for a long period of time, like, I was so used to detoxing because I would get paid, I would have money, I would be high until Tuesday or Wednesday, and I would run out of money and drugs, and then I would detox for, like, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday every week. It was the same
Really?
cycle,
It's
yeah.
a wonder you lived through that. Do you know how
Oh, I
hard
know.
that is on the body
Yeah.
physiologically?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do. And I was just used to it. So when they asked me if I needed to go to detox, I was like, "I can handle it. It's gonna suck, but I can handle it."
Did there
Mhm.
in one of the they
Oh,
don't
yeah.
call them dorms or houses, I guess you all
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Hmm,
Yeah. So that's how I did
wow.
it.
Okay, so then walk me through, it's a Sunday, you
Mhm.
say goodbye to them.
Yeah.
It's not lots of hugs and kisses, it's them saying,
Don't call
"Good
me.
luck." Yeah,
Yeah. Don't
and
call me.
don't call us, right?
Yeah.
What are the first things you all do on that first Sunday?
As soon as I got to my house, you got like 2 or 3 hours to get settled in, and then, you go to the kitchen and eat. I slept until, like, 5. I was been running so long, I was exhausted, you know? And it'd been kind of like a stressful event a chain of events that had happened. So, I got home, I got unpacked, and I went to sleep, and they woke me up at 5, and they do, like, you eat at 5 from 5 to 5:30, and then they read the house rules from 5:30 to 6.
Okay, so are you rolling your eyes at that point, or are you like, "Okay,
I'm
this is
kinda
it, I gotta do it,"
Yeah, I'm kinda thinking, "Man, what have I gotten myself into?" When they started, because it's a lot of rules. This place has been here for a long time. A lot of people have tried a
for a
lot of
reason. That's
things.
right. Give me just three rules. What do you that you could remember? Well, you're an
So
instructor, so you really know them.
yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff on there, but, like, anything from, you must wear shoes with shoelaces to the kitchen in the
Okay.
morning. Yeah, or
You say, "Yes, ma'am." I bet they
yeah.
take
Oh,
because
yeah.
every person I talk to on these interviews or when we're
Yeah.
"Yes, ma'am."
Yes, ma'am.
They y'all are the most polite group of people I've ever been around.
Yes, ma'am. I
See?
believe in respect,
I know
absolutely.
you do.
Yeah, and it's, just some other things on there, like, but it's some freedom here. Like, I was expecting curfews and things like that, but it's not structured like that. It's just structured to obey the guidelines because there's certain things that people have tried and tried to get away with, that they've caught on to, and they know what to look for, and they set them up for a reason. And I don't understand them or didn't at first, but I do now. Looking back, it's like they were all for my benefit. They were
Mhm.
all beneficial to me.
Well,
Things I
think about
needed to do.
yeah, well, that's really how we look at God's sovereignty over our
Mhm.
lives is, yeah, there are rules, but they're to protect us.
Yes, ma'am.
They
Absolutely.
are definitely, I mean, they are there to, I mean, I tell my kids that. I know that with spiritually how you grow. Okay, so this is about 2021, 2022.
3.
Oh, 2023. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, at that point, you get to see your mom and dad like in a month, isn't that
Mhm.
it?
Yeah, there's a 30-day blackout
And
period.
so they do another 4-hour trek up to Charlotte.
Yeah, I wanna say they came like a month and a half later, but this is funny, I say funny, it's not funny, but it's pretty crazy that, like, I'd been there 2 or 3 weeks, and, you're not supposed to get any visitors or anything like that, and I showed up home one day from work, and there was, like, some carton of cigarettes and a case of Cokes on my bed and, like, some food and stuff like that, and somebody said, "Some guy named David Bennett came by to see you," you know? And I was like, "Man, that was kind of a turning moment in my stay here," you know? 'Cause I was like, "Man, if this guy's never met me before, doesn't
Oh,
know anything about me,
and he
but
cared so
he's
much.
willing to do that to make me just be comfortable enough here to stay long enough to try and and get a relationship with Jesus, then changed my whole outlook on
Scott, that's
everything.
precious.
Yeah.
Where is David Bennett now?
He's in Lake Village.
And is he still opening his, heart
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
inviting young men and
Yes,
maybe
ma'am.
women?
He comes up here, like, once a month and comes to
Does
Bible
he
study. Yeah,
really?
yeah, he's very involved up here.
Mm, wow.
And we
And
go work for him.
that's what you in turn have done. I mean, you've invested your life now
Oh,
in
yeah.
the lives of these men who come through. You're an instructor there. So
Yes, ma'am.
how long were you in the program before you became an instructor? Is it 6 months or 12 months?
You have to stay between 6 months to a year, but I stayed about 9 months before I graduated.
And you then didn't want to leave. The person who didn't really want
Uh,
to go, you didn't want to
no.
leave.
No, I didn't. It's kinda funny because it was in August when I got in, and so I spent the Christmas holidays here, and I just had this feeling like, "Man, this is the first Christmas I've spent where I felt like I fit in." I felt
Wow.
like I belonged here because family's great, but I always just knew that I was different, and there was some things going on with me that I couldn't share with them, so I never felt comfortable in that setting, and then I spent Christmas here, and I was like, "This is where I'm meant to be." God saved
Wow.
me and brought me here for a reason, and now
Family. Yeah.
yeah, and
It's your
now I can
family.
see it.
Okay, well, now let's fast forward to we're recording this in 2026. I kind of
Yeah.
referenced in the beginning that there was a girl who's sweet on
Mhm,
you or you're sweet on,
mhm.
and she's walked through the women's side of the ministry.
Yes, ma'am.
And so is she still a resident?
She's an instructor.
She's an instructor. So you've
Yeah.
known her then for some time, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. We, play the guitar on the praise team, and she's like a
I remember that when I was there. Yeah, I
yeah,
remember seeing you. Yeah.
she sings.
One of the vocalists. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
That I saw her when I was there that
So that's
Sunday.
kinda how we met. That was our first encounter.
Well, that's so cute. And I really didn't want to put a lot of pressure on this because,
It's
God's
really
in
okay.
control.
It's
That's what
really
you have to
okay,
look at.
and
God's in
yeah.
control.
Yes, ma'am.
So, what's so interesting about this program is that, yes, you make a big commitment saying, yes, I'm going to leave my life as I know it for 6 to 12 months at least. But, Scott, how many men and women that say, well, I'm not moving, I'm not leaving. And
That's
they
right.
stay there because you live on property and you work for the ministry. So, anyone listening, there are things you all are doing. You're
Yes,
coming to Little
ma'am.
Rock, learning, taking shop classes practically, but you're, doing a lot. I know down at Riggs, you do things all over the state. I bet you never thought in your wildest dream driving up there with mom and dad in the car that this was going to be your home for the next, as long as God wants you to. What happens if you marry this girl? Do you stay on property?
Oh, yeah, we'll stay here.
Okay, because there are husbands and wives there.
Yeah, there's several of them that are instructors at the women's and here that are married.
Okay. Well, we're out of time, but I could talk to you more because you have a very interesting story and you're very cheerful. And I bet I guessed it right. You are an extrovert, I think, in that you
Yes,
love
ma'am.
people.
Absolutely.
And that's why when the people were partying, they didn't want to party with you. Then you were like, well, now where can I go play with people? You just want to play. You just want to be with people. And that's why the ministry is so great for you because it's a 300 acres of people. And that's what we're trying to do. Get more people to come. If there's anything you could tell someone, Scott, be the David Bennett in their ear. What can you do to encourage someone to pick up the phone, make the call, or make the text saying, I need to come?
If there's anybody out there and they'll know if there is because they'll know that I'm speaking directly to them. But what you're doing and the life that you're living is not what you were meant to do. God has things planned for you that you can't see, that you cannot understand, and that you cannot wrap your mind around that are better than anything that you could have planned for yourself. And the hardest part of that is just giving in and deciding to do something different. And I promise you that this is a place that changes people's lives through Jesus Christ. It happens every day. I see the goodness of God before my eyes every day here. And there's no difference between me and the man or woman that's sitting out there listening to this right now. If he can do it for me, there is hope for the whole world. He can do it for anybody that's out there that's struggling. So that's what I would tell them.
Great job, Scott. Thanks
Yes,
for
ma'am.
doing this interview. I
Yes, ma'am. I loved it.
can't wait to meet your little friend.
Oh, yeah. I loved
Thank
it.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us for the John 3:16 Stories of Hope podcast, highlighting the community at John 3:16 Ministries in Charlotte, Arkansas. Be sure to share the episode. If you need more information, hop on their website, john316thecure.com, or find them on social media.